So Jon Snow is returning, or is he? Interesting. Well, this is really going to be a kind of double-barreled review because this news is technically not news, but I want to strike kind of middling pose because unfortunately, even bigger sites and YouTube channels that should know better are running with this in a bad way. So what is occurring? Well, the mainstream press is reporting that there are talks to have a Jon Snow sequel alongside these other prequel shows within the Game of Thrones universe on HBO. And it does appear that this is legitimate news because it's being reported by the usual fairly reliable magazines and newspapers such as Variety, Hollywood Reporter, etc., etc. So I'm going to have to do technically a separate video on thoughts on just this whole idea of expanding the GRRMverse because technically this may not really be true. So the question is, if it's not true, why is it being reported by otherwise good, reliable magazines and newspapers? And I usually think we should go with those over the bad rumors on Reddit and things like that. So there are exceptions to the rule. So what is occurring? Well, the original story was done by the Hollywood Reporter by one person in particular, James Herbert. If you don't know who that is, essentially Herbert did a lot of pro-propaganda pieces for D&D or Benioff and Weiss over at Game of Thrones when they were the producers and writers. And we know this because Dragon Demands on his YouTube channel has shown systemically that James Herbert put out these pieces to basically promote the show, promote Benioff and Weiss. He even coached at one point the cast when they were doing a convention appearance. And I think overall, Dragon Demands has shown that Hibbert is a very questionable source. He put out a book, which ironically, even though it's meant to be pro D&D, showed a lot of their failures and a lot of the problems. But it was sort of spun in a kind of lighthearted, oh, we were learning on the job. We really didn't know what we're doing. We're really complete idiots. We don't even know the books really. But, HBO handed us the show. It became a huge success, so all their failures were converted into successes. But now we have a more well-rounded view with additional material on what happened on those years in HBO. And we now know from George Martin himself, as well as executives at HBO, they weren't as well liked as we think they were. And they did question why they cut the later seasons so much, and they wanted the show to continue. And that is the official record. And we even have official sources for that. I've already done a few videos on that. I'll do more. So then, if he's really that untrustworthy, why is this being reported as a fact? And why are even the good YouTube channels going with this? And I don't want any major beef with Daniel Greene or Talking Thrones or whoever, Quinn, you name it. I tend to think that's a bad idea unless you have really good factual evidence. And sometimes I do. So with somebody like Nerd Cookies, I think she's done some frankly racist and alt-right things, but that's her channel. If she wants to go down that road, that's her. But otherwise, I think she does good work here and there. So each channel should do what they want to do. And if they're doing really ugly political things or ugly, stupid rumor mongering, that's their business. I'm just being the watchdog. Where I depart from Dragon Demands is I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility this could be true. I mean, again, is he a shill? Yes. Is he a propaganda? Yes. Has he often lied before? Yes. That doesn't mean this rumor is not true. It could be it is true. There are some warning signals because usually George R. R. Martin himself breaks this news. Like he'll tell you that, yeah, we're developing this for HBO. He's not said anything about this. So you would think if this is a serious talk on his not a blog, he would also tell us and congratulate Kit and so on and so forth. We haven't heard anything from him, and Kit's representatives have not confirmed this. Why he would want to deny it is unclear, right? Eternals was not a big box office success. He seemed to be primed to be doing Black Knight in the Marvel Universe, but again, Eternals didn't really work. So is he still retained by the MCU? It's not clear. So there are a lot of question marks. However, I'm going to strike a middling pose that this may happen, but its possibility is very low. If you are excited for this, don't get that pumped up. But if you don't want this, which I don't want it either, yeah, it's interesting propaganda, but nothing really to get excited over. I do think Dragon Demands is probably correct, but we should at least not be dogmatic. I mean, James Hibbert probably shouldn't be considered a reliable journalist, but good or bad as a propagandist, he may know things we don't know. So This may happen, this may not happen. I want to say it's a shame these other big channels were just going with this and started speculating, and I want this in the show and I want that in the show. We really don't know this is happening. This really is a rumor. And usually, when it's reported by the good magazines and good papers, we should discuss it seriously. But this is probably an exception to the rule. Hibbert is probably able to publish things he probably shouldn't have. And as far as I know, he doesn't even have a source for this. So he could just maybe be making it up out of whole cloth. But if it happens, I'm not really all that interested. But I can't speak for the whole fandom. We'll have to decide. We'll have to wait and see if this is really real. And if so, the fandom wants to embrace this idea.